let me explain this to you. Let me break it down into actual dollars and cents, okay? Because I think this is what really helps us figure out why we would want to do this. So on the left-hand side, this is what you get for solution partner designation. Okay, so we know. So if you did, okay, and this is an example of a $100,000 VDI deal. Okay, virtual desktop infrastructure. There's a lot of things that very, very similar to this, but I like to use this as a good way of kind of explaining this. So on the left-hand side, on a $100,000 VDI deal, Microsoft says, look, now this is outside of your margin. So you're already getting 15% margin, right, from your distributor. Okay, so they're saying, okay, for a net new ad, they're going to give you 15% of the first year incentive plus the CSP and indirect accelerators. That's 21 points that you're going to be making if you have a solution partner designation. But that's it. That's all you're going to get. Okay, what's important to note is look on the right side. Okay, this is where it blows you away. If you had the advanced specialization for the same exact deal, you stack these. You're getting that 21, but you're also, now we can get $4,000 to $5,000 to just do an assessment. Then we can ask Microsoft, hey, we need a 10-to-1 ratio. If it's 100,000, I want $10,000 to $15,000 in deployment funds. I can, like, if to basically offset deployment. So you can ask for that money. But then on top of that, look at the right. It says, okay, if you brought in a net new VDI deal, okay, they're going to give you a $9,000 bounty, like saying, thank you very much for bringing that net new VDI deal from Citrix or whoever they're bringing it from, right? And then they're saying, hey, over this next year, we're going to give you 30% of the partner attributable ACR. So at $100,000, that's 30 grand. Okay, now let me show you dollars and cents on this one. Oops. Okay, look at that, dollars and cents. On the left-hand side, you're making $21,000 that first year. But if you had the advanced specialization, now you're looking at $5,000 for the assessment, and then for the MCI engagement, you can ask for $15,000 to do the deployment. It says 20 grand. They give you 9 grand plus the 30. Now on that same deal in the first year, you're making $81,000. Okay, $81,000. Andres, so, we've talked to a lot of folks about this, and when you're talking to them, what is typically the feedback that you get from folks?
I think the first feedback is there's a lot of concern regarding the claiming process. Partners, PI used to be a thing, right, where you would claim, and there was typically this monster effort to go get funds, and you spend more time trying to get the dollars than you actually, received in value back. So that's the first initial. And then the second thing I hear a lot from partners is, we're just so far away, and I don't even know what I need to do to even get there, that I just don't, it's not even top of mind. But then all of a sudden you jump into their portal, you take a look, and you say, you add 2 certs, you added 1 customer, all of a sudden we just need to do an audit. So it's not as far as you might think it is. In some cases it is, right? Because there is a certain tier you got to get to. But for a lot of partners, you've been in the space for a little while, you're growing, it may not be as unattainable as you think it is. And there's definitely, 81,000 reasons for you to figure it out.
So things have changed significantly. Okay, we've been hearing about, this has been another thing to be careful to note. We've been hearing about this for a few years, okay, which is any between the SMC, which is 500 to 25, their enterprise agreements are no longer going to be able to be renewed. Been hearing this for a long time, right? Hearing it. And even a month ago, I've had partners say, I think it's a bunch of crap. I don't think it's going to come about. And the reality is, it has not just come about. Now there's an actual motion in place where you can go inside of Partner Center and look at all of your customers to actually find which ones have EAs and which ones have EA renewals coming up. Because Microsoft wants you to do the transfer from that EA to CSP. It's actually in the Partner Center today. It's crazy. They just rolled it out a couple of days ago, but there's a way to find your client, find out when that enterprise agreement is expiring, and then convert them to CSP. Okay, there's an Azure CSP opportunity. Now, this is kind of cool because I think the difference here, and actually, Andres, you were explaining this to me even better, but discuss the margin that you're getting versus this payout, because I think there's a confusion. That 15% is the same as the margin you get from your distributor, but is this on top of that?
This is on top of it. Yeah, no, Microsoft is making a massive push. If you look at the dollars and cents that they allocated to the different programs, they put a significant amount of money into the Azure space because they see that as a growing part of the business. And so I think they're doing the same thing from a rebate standpoint. Now, what you'll notice is you've got your 4% baseline. That's just if you've got an SPD, you're always going to be earning a minimum 4% on the back end through your CSP Azure consumption. On top of that, they've got specific accelerators for different workloads, and most importantly for an AI accelerator. So you get to pick. So for example, I think Azure Virtual Desktop, or you see on the bottom, you have it right there, Sherm. Actually, I didn't see that. Those from specialized compute all the way through Microsoft Defender for Cloud, those are workload accelerators where if you're selling those specific SKUs, you get an additional 3% on top of your 4. And if you're using an AI one specifically, you would actually get 4 plus the 7. So you choose between the 3 or the 7, right? On top of that, if it's a brand new account or workload that they've never utilized before, you also then get an additional 15% for the first year with that customer as well. So you could theoretically, let's say it's an AI accelerator for a new Azure customer, you could theoretically be earning 26% on the back end. It's nuts. It's a big number. So this is why getting a solution designation is so critical, because if you don't have it, you miss out on all of this.